In this lesson, we're going to add parameters to the reception counter family that we created in the previous lesson to allow us to dynamically adjust the settings for this counter. Now, as I explained before in the previous lesson, try to never add parameters to solid objects, solids or voids. It works best if you always add parameters to reference planes and then link all of the objects you create to those reference planes. So in the previous lesson, we built a scaffold. If you look at the reference level here, we built a scaffold of reference planes, and then we added geometry and we locked that geometry to these lines. Now we're going to add parameters to the same ones. Now parameters are really just a dimension. That's your most basic type of parameter. So if I click on this, I'm going to add a dimension between those two lines. To turn this from a dimension into a parameter, you just select it, and up here where it says label, you say add parameter. So this one, I'm going to call counter width. Now we have to choose, is this a type or an instance parameter? Now to quickly explain this, if it's a type parameter, it means that is for this type of family. So if I were to load this family into a project and I create and then I adjust a type parameter, it will update all of the families of this type in that project. If it's an instance parameter, it means I will be able to adjust them individually, so they're not linked to each other. So for this one, I'm going to keep it an instance. We're going to group this one under dimensions. You can see it automatically knows it's a length parameter because it's a dimension that we're using. And I want to group it under the dimensions. So I'm just going to say OK. And you'll see here it says currently the counter width is 559. Now I want these two to always be the same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another parameter or another dimension. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to choose that same parameter. You can see it already updated to give me that width. Now I'm going to move to my front view. I'm going to add another one here. Add one there. There. That should be fine. There. And let's start turning them into parameters. So if I select this one, again I'm going to go up to label here, add parameter. This one is going to be counter height. I want it to be an instance, grouped under dimensions. Okay, and let's just change that before it upsets someone. Let's make it 700. In fact, let's make it 900. Okay, now here you can see I have a parameter that gives me the size or the height of this. Now this one will allow me to adjust the height of this box here. So again, select it, add parameter, call it counter box. Let's leave this one a type. We want it to be the same for all of them. Okay, let's change that. You can see again it updated. Move the geometry with it. Now this is going to be the width or the thickness of my counter. So I'm going to select this one, add parameter, counter thickness. Let's make that one a type as well, also under dimensions. And I'm going to link this one to that as well. This will make sure that they're always the same. Now, if I look at this in 3D, those two currently will always be the same because of those parameters. But you can see this one is a little bit thinner. I think maybe that side as well. So I need to add additional reference planes to be able to add parameters for that. Let's go to our left view. Here I'm going to go create reference plane, add one there. I'm going to select my void and lock it to this one. Then add a parameter. Link it to that. And then do the same on that side. That is my right view. It's already in there. Front view. There we go. Reference plane. Add the parameter. You can see this one is 50. And it should update the moment that we link it to these other parameters. There we go. And you can see the void is not linked to it yet, so I need to select that, drag it in and back, and just lock it. Now to test these settings, we want to change them. It's called flexing. Now to do that, we're going to go up here to the family types. And I just want to quickly cancel this and move this a little bit so you can see. So again, it's smaller. Right, so let's see if I were to change the counter height. And apply, you will see it jumps up like that. Change the counter box size, make it 800. Should go back down. Let's change the thickness of this. Make it 50. You can see it goes thinner. And then the counter width, let's make that 600. Apply. And you can see the counter updates. So that is how you flex your family and test these various settings that you have. Now, if I were to load this into a project, and place the family, you'll see that the user will have access to all of the settings that were set as instance. So a type setting, you can only change within the family. An instance setting will be available to the user. So that is it for this lesson. And in the next one, we'll look at more family templates and also more types of parameters.